Welcome to With You Podcast.
where we explore relationships and life transitions.
I'm David.
And I'm Tara.
And I'm ready to explore life transitions.
Oh, what transition shall we explore?
I am starting sabbatical.
That is a transition.
And that means I'm around more.
Yep.
So we have to find a new rhythm.
Yeah.
So
Is that going to be challenging?
I think it is. I like having a rhythm, and I don't. So
You don't really have predictable rhythms, though.
No, but
That's
like going
not
to
a
work,
thing.
like
Well,
going into the office.
occasionally. Yeah, but you don't rest well.
No. So it's been a hard couple of days, but I'm looking forward to figuring it out. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll get more podcasts out.
Well, still once a week.
Yeah, that's true. But maybe we can get ahead.
Yeah, that's always the hope. We always
Right.
think we'll get ahead.
Instead, we're doing this almost live.
It might as well be live.
We should just talk to
It
you.
would probably be easier.
Yeah, because we usually have about like 12 hours between when we finish and Zach has to produce it. So, But we wanna continue on our how do you have good conversation?
Yeah. And we had so much fun last time that we actually had to cut some sections because we're laughing. We's laughing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
and we may have been a little inappropriate.
maybe.
Well, and I say we.
Now you'll never know.
You'll never know. But we did enjoy learning a little bit. I mean, the fun part of this is it's probably things you haven't talked about before. And so
And even if you think you have, maybe there's something new.
yeah, things change. Like marriage and life is not static.
Yeah.
And so your favorite, your worst, your most interesting, that can all change
Or
overnight.
just stories that you haven't heard. We've lived a lot of years. There might be things you've done in your life I never heard.
Yeah, well, that's
figure.
true. I mean, we just had that with your mom and my parents of just spending time and asking better questions, asking more direct. Like, I think when you're younger, you don't really care about what's happened in your parents' and grandparents' lives. Now that we're getting older, we do. And asking the question, it's just fascinating to hear family history
Yeah.
and how it kind of really, without our awareness, shapes us.
Right. And the family stories are fun, but just thinking about the better questions you talked about asking. I don't like the questions that start with, what's your favorite blank, or what's your,
That must be where our kids get it from.
our kids don't like it either. Even when they were school age, we'd ask them,
Yeah, what's your
the
favorite class?
Yeah, what's your favorite subject? They never would want to privilege something like that.
No, that's annoying.
They still won't answer that kind of question.
No, but you won't either. I just realized that. So
Yeah,
it's
so
like
maybe
they each have their own benefits and downsides, and there's this critical thinking that's just really annoying. But
Yeah.
I don't think we have favorites in here. I think they're
I
much
don't
more.
think so.
And I can't wait for you to find the
So
one
we're
I put in
going
there.
back to the bowl full
Back-
of questions, the
Back to
same
bowl.
same list of questions we had last week.
That's right.
I mean, not the same questions, but the same, diving into the same bowl of prompts.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about them, but we'd love for you to talk about them too. So like when we're driving in a car, listen to a podcast, we pause and then we have a conversation, then we listen up. Maybe you want to do that with this one. So we'll ask the questions, we'll answer, and then we'll pause. Well, you'll have to pause us, have the discussion, and then continue on.
All right. So who gets to go first?
I think I
you're
do.
already, you're going for
good.
it.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm hopping at it. Most decade-defining outfit. And bonus points if you put up a picture of it on our website.
So, like, what's the most decade-defining outfit you've worn in the past or now?
Sure. It just
I guess?
says it doesn't say, it just says most decade-defining outfit. I think in the past. I
Okay.
think in our growing up.
Yeah. Well, we lived through some interesting decades in fashion.
We did the 60s and 70s, late 60s, and then 70s and 80s.
Yeah. In the 70s, we're not really responsible for what we wore. It was
No.
our mother's choice, but the 80s definitely.
Well, I had those plaid shirts
You
that
did.
with the big collars. I mean, collars that come down to like your armpits.
Yeah.
And that's really the 70s and
Hmm.
hairstyle too, right? So when I think about my plaid shirts in the 70s, I
Hmm.
also think about big feathery hair. I know
Uh-huh.
it's hard as you look, it's hard to imagine.
Yeah,
But I feathered my hair.
you
That was the
did.
70s and 80s.
Yeah, I think you had the matching plaid pants as well with
Yeah, with the white belt.
with the white belt. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If you ever watched the Brady Bunch, it was kind of that clothes in the 70s.
That's pretty decade defining.
Yeah, I think that that's the biggest for me. How about for you? What was your decade defining?
Oh my goodness. I mean, it would have to be from the 80s because we lived in Africa until 1982, I think we came back. And so when we were there, I didn't know what was fashionable. It didn't matter. We got
Yeah,
hand-me-down clothes.
it was what it
So,
was available.
right.
Yeah,
So when we came back to the US, I was trying to look at everybody and fit in. And I can think of a picture, but I don't know if I could find it. It would be funny to post where I was wearing this like jumpsuit. It was black with stripes of kind of neon
oh, I've
bright
seen that.
turquoise and pink.
Oh, we'll
And I
find
had
that.
big feathered 80s hair that
Yeah,
probably had a lot of hairspray on it. And I've got my first Sony Walkman cassette playing little, personal
yeah.
sound
I
device.
think you may have to explain that for many people that are younger than us. So a cassette tape. What's a cassette
It's how
tape?
we listened to music, and this was like super, you know, cool to have your Walkman to go on walks with, and you had a little headset to listen
Yeah.
to it on your own, and it was clipped on to my belt, and I had my
Mhm.
headphones on, and I had braces and
And
feathered
feathered
hair.
hair. Oh, that is the decade defining
Yes.
look.
But there's another one. I don't think there's a picture of it, but it was like a flash dance style shirt, which I thought was super
Wait,
risque.
what?
Yeah.
I don't
Because
think I've
the
seen
flash
that
dance,
one.
well, no, I wore it in 1985. But it was like, but it had a white tank top underneath it, but
Yeah.
it was actually like mesh, and then it had to go off one shoulder
Yeah.
because that was the flash dance look.
I remember seeing that movie.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We do
You
have
shouldn't have seen that
yeah.
movie.
I
I
think it was
don't
the
think you
I
were
think it
allowed
was
to
the
see our
I
movies.
think it was the poster.
Yeah.
Let's just say I saw the
Yeah,
poster.
probably.
Yeah, I think that's probably better. Um, what about for us in the 90s? I can think of one where we're
Mm,
on the beach in California
yep.
and you're wearing a tracksuit.
So are you. And I didn't realize how decade defining that was until our kids found that picture and they laughed so hard.
Yeah, so this is the early 90s, probably 93,
Yeah. Yeah.
1993, and we're standing
And,
in Southern California on a cliff out overlooking the Pacific Ocean.
mhm.
And you still have a little bit of wave to your hair. I have hair,
You had hair
and
then, yes.
we're not wearing matching tracksuits, but we're
But they were those
wearing
80s like color block style.
like
So
wind and
like
windbreaker
graphic
kind of.
windbreaker jacket, puffy, like, not streamlined.
Yeah, no. And
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
that was a look.
That was the 90s.
Now we're
I
just
wish I kept that.
stylish. I think I might have mine.
Things always come back
I
around.
should go try it on.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Some of the things are better left in the past.
Okay, is that
So
enough?
I think we hit the 70s, the 80s,
Yeah.
and the
And I
90s.
don't know what was fashionable after that.
No,
We were
because we
just
had
raising kids
we
and
had young
yeah.
family.
Yeah. All right,
We
that's
were
enough.
not fashionable
Oh, I
since
wasn't.
then.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This question is, what's the most dangerous thing you've done or most dangerous situation you've been in?
Those are two different things.
Well, you could answer either.
Yeah.
What pops to mind?
Nothing that I really want to say on the air,
Yeah.
at least what I've done.
Have you been in a situation that wasn't under your control or you didn't initiate it that
Yeah,
felt dangerous?
I think when you took me into Chicago for the first time.
Oh, like when I worked downtown
Yeah.
for a homeless organization,
Yeah.
and I brought you into a part of town you'd never seen before.
No, there was people with like needles hanging out of their arms and
Well,
heroin.
no, I don't think that's true.
It was
Well,
true.
I just
You
didn't.
got
I
used
didn't
to
look.
it.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So that,
You were nervous
yeah, I
when I
was
took you
nervous
on the west
there.
side. Yeah.
I think there's been times that we've traveled to
You
places
know what?
that
It
have
might have
been,
been when my car broke down that one time.
yeah.
That felt a little crazy.
So, so Tara worked in downtown Chicago on the west side of Chicago and would drive in and out. I
I didn't
was,
usually drive. I
no, you take the
sometimes
train.
occasionally did because it was such a pain to drive down there. But I had this seminar I had to go to after work one day. So I was also dressed up more than I normally would be to work where I worked. And I went to this seminar and I was coming home on the Eisenhower in the evening.
Yep. And I was at our Bible study with friends and waiting for you, and you were late. And
Hmm.
then we got a phone call, and it wasn't a cell phone
We
because we
didn't
didn't
have,
have cell phones.
yeah.
So I knew something was up when the home phone of where we were at, where I was at, which wasn't our home, rang, and it was you. And
Hmm.
you're like, my car's broke down, and I need you to come and get me. Oh, I have to run back to the car now. I'm on Homan Avenue, and click, and
Yeah.
that was about it.
Yeah.
And so then me and my buddy got into a car and raced down to
Got
find
there
you.
faster than I could have imagined.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my car had the oil pan. I had bought this car used and it was well used.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the oil pan had fallen off and all the oil ran out and the engine basically seized up.
Yeah. It became one big piece of
Like it went
metal.
thunk, 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 and then just done.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was on the Eisenhower and it was cold and it was, there were no cell phones.
Yep.
And I'm looking around for where I
And it
can
was
walk
after
to.
dark.
Yeah. As I walked up the embankment, I found this one not cell phone, payphone on the side of it, like an abandoned gas station.
Yep.
And a lot of people milling around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it
Starting to
was,
pay a lot of attention to me. And I'm in my little, business suit. I did not fit in.
no, but
Yeah.
everything worked out, but it was
Well,
unsettling
while I was waiting
context.
for you, I had a couple cars stop and offer for me to get in their car, and they were not cars that were trying to be helpful.
Yeah.
It was a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
And then we got a tow to a garage in an
Yeah.
area where you and our friend got
Propositioned a
propositioned.
lot.
It was an interesting neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But our tow driver drove from Chicago all the way back out to Wheaton.
drove
His
us
name was
home.
Murph.
Yeah.
And he drove us home, and it was a lot of cross-cultural experiences because for him driving to Wheaton was a scary thing.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting for us to continue to have those kind of cross-cultural conversations
Yeah.
of the neighborhoods the neighborhoods you don't know. It makes a sense of
Yeah.
safety or not. And an interesting finish to that story is we had friends that helped rebuild because we were young, married, poor,
Yeah.
right out of college, and my friend's dad
Well,
rebuilt
he got
an
us a new
engine.
a new engine.
A new engine
Yeah,
from
from another car.
and put it together, and that
That
was
was
an amazing
a great
part
gift.
of our
Yeah,
first bit of
I
life.
wouldn't say that didn't even come to mind when I was thinking of dangerous situations I've been in. What was the other part of that question? Dangerous situation or dangerous?
Yeah,
I
it's
forget what we're even
most
answering now.
dangerous thing you've
Oh,
done.
you've done.
You've
You,
jumped out of airplanes. That's
but
stupid.
that's not dangerous.
It is
It's
dangerous.
a very
Controlled danger.
controlled. Yes, they don't want the instructor that you're strapped to doesn't want to bounce either.
Yeah. I can think of the most dangerous thing we did growing up.
That you
We
did.
would play,
Oh no, those are the stories you probably shouldn't tell. We don't want to
well,
give anybody ideas, honestly.
okay. So
Yeah.
we would play games
You
that were
played, yeah.
dangerous.
You were left, in the 80s. we played on our own a lot.
Well, and that was the 70s.
The
And we
70s.
were,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so you'd get up to stuff that probably wasn't safe.
Right. We could do harm to each other, and but we survived. And I mean, it's interesting because like now, those would be Homeland Security would be called.
I hope not. I hope that's an
It
exaggeration.
is an
For me, it
exaggeration.
was in Africa, we would also be left to explore and wander, which is one of the things my dad really valued about us living there is he believed all children needed adventure.
Yeah.
So we really would just wander into the bush and down into holes that animals had dug. Who knows if there was something at the bottom of that hole. And, there were obviously, we would find snakes in the grass, very poisonous snakes. And
Yeah, because
so
doesn't
that,
Africa have like black mambas and
and we found a cobra once.
oh
Yeah.
wow.
So that was probably dangerous. It
Yeah.
didn't feel like danger at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think of something where I felt ever like my life was in danger.
Right.
I've had things that felt like something bad could have happened but didn't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Wander when I travel, if I ever just I'm not sleeping and I wander out of the hotel at 4 a.m., that's probably dumb and dangerous. I can think of a couple of times. So, yeah, interesting. All right. Well, it feels like we can't say all of those.
I mean, I was
I lived a sheltered
I
life. You
I
lived
lived
an
through a
adventurous life.
coup once. That was kind of exciting and but it just felt like,
What?
yeah,
What
there was a
coup?
coup in Kenya when we lived there. It felt more dangerous because we got notified by the US government we should be ready in case they had to evacuate everybody.
Oh,
So it was one of those those core memory moments where your mom says, "Okay, you can each pick one thing to put in a suitcase in case we have to be evacuated."
oh, what did you pick?
I don't even remember
Oh, wow.
because it didn't come to that.
No, but
But
you
I
were
remember the
ready.
news
Yeah.
and the excitement of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this one's more your style. You've lived a more adventurous life. I think there's not a lot of. I think I got stepped on a shell one time at Lake Michigan. And
You've been in some interesting places too, but let's
yeah,
move on.
let's move on from that. Okay, a fond memory from an old car that you used to own.
Oh, that's assuming we had cars, but we did.
We did have
Yeah.
cars, huh?
Do you want to think about that? And I'll
Yeah,
tell mine.
yeah. Go ahead and tell yours. I feel like, yeah, I think I need to hear yours
So
first.
my first car was a 1979 Datsun something. It was gray and small.
Hmm.
And my dad helped me get it for, after I was 16 and I could drive it to high school. And my fun memory was our high school homecoming parade. I dressed it up as a mouse
Oh,
and drove it around and had to peek around the eyes that were in the windshield that I had made and the whiskers that were on the front.
oh, that's super cute.
Ears on the top. It was cute.
Yeah. My first car was a Ford Pinto that I bought from my grandfather, and yeah,
Yeah.
it was a '70s Ford, and it was one of those ones that you worried if he got rear-ended, it would burst into flame. But nothing ever memorable happened in the Ford Pinto.
I want to tell the story of a car we owned together. That was kind of a funny story.
Okay, and then
I mean,
I'll
it's
tell.
kind of funny because it ends up fine, but it was a fast car. So your first car,
Oh yeah, Dodge
like
Daytona.
coming out of college,
Yep,
it liked to drive
it
fast.
did like to drive fast.
And so when we were engaged and driving up to, yeah, we were driving from Chicago to Michigan to
Yeah.
visit your parents for Easter.
Yep,
And our wedding was coming up later that year. So we were in the middle of planning things for our wedding.
yep,
And that car it liked to go fast on the highway. So
Yeah.
if you didn't look at the speedometer too closely, it would just inch up and it drove better when it was going
yeah.
fast.
It liked to go fast. It did like to
And
go
so
fast.
we were engrossed in talking and thinking. We actually had a cassette tape in the deck of my parents' wedding vows. We were talking about our wedding vows.
Yep.
I had the Bible open on my lap as we talked through what scripture we were going to read in our wedding ceremony. And then we saw police lights in the rearview mirror.
with our Bible open on the
And
console.
we got pulled over and he came to the window and we're sitting there with the Bible. We're like, "Hi, officer. We're
We're
just
planning
planning our
our
wedding."
wedding.
And he was very
He
kind.
was kind.
Yeah, and you didn't, he said you were going over what you
Incredibly
should have
fast, I believe he said.
pretty fast. Yeah. And you did get a ticket, but you
Yeah,
didn't get your
I didn't,
license taken away.
and I didn't go to jail. So those were those
Yeah,
were
and we
good.
took the warning seriously
Yep.
and we always
Have driven the speed limit ever since.
are close to it.
Or close to it. I think there's two other car stories that come to mind. I also had a brown Ford Escort. That was a manual transmission, and one of the fond memories wasn't even me driving that car. So we were on one of the main streets here in
Oh.
Wheaton, and I was in a Ford.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't know
know,
where you were. Now I know.
I was in a Mustang.
Yeah,
Ford Mustang, a very nice car
with a friend.
with a friend, and you were following us, and you pulled up beside at the stoplight, and he was being funny
Well,
and revved
he
his engine.
challenged
He
me.
revved his engine and pointed to you, and then pointed to the light.
And yours was a little brown manual
It
transmission
sounded like it
Ford.
ran from a rubber
And he
band.
was in a new Mustang and he challenged me. So what could I do?
Well, you blew his doors off.
Not literally,
No, but
but I
like
did beat him to the next stop
you were in
sign.
third gear by the time he even like took his foot off the brake, and it was remarkable. And I laughed so hard, and he got a little upset.
Well,
But then his remark was, "I can't afford to get another ticket." But
yeah.
that was a fun moment watching you just kind of grind through the gears and get that little car going fast. The other fond memory I have was with my buddy Andy back in Grand Haven, and maybe we can find a picture of this. But he is an amazing engineer, just kind of thinks that way of how cars work. And so he built basically from spare parts a little Triumph convertible. And so we basically all I did was Bondo, which is the kind of clay that makes the car body. So I got to do the Bondo, and then we just drove that convertible around
Just cruise the
all the
beach.
time. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was so much fun. But that was a fun memory because it was something that was it was Andy's skill set, and I got to just learn and be part of. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's more than one good car story.
Yeah.
Who knew we had so many car stories? All right, I've chosen the next question, and it just says it's two words: embarrassing haircut. Have you ever had an embarrassing haircut? You've already
Yeah.
referenced your 1970s hair.
I think we talked about my embarrassing haircut. You gave it to me,
We have talked
didn't
about this on
we?
the
Yeah.
podcast where I made a mistake with the clippers and
Yeah.
cut down to the skin.
Shaved me bald on one side. No, I think when you look back, it's embarrassing now, but the style of hair
Yeah, and
I
it was
had,
the thing.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it wasn't an embarrassing cut. It was just embarrassing to be part of that historical time.
Yeah, I don't think you ever had like a terrible haircut. I think probably the ones you'd be most embarrassed about were the big bowl haircuts that were
Yeah.
just the 1970s.
I think between my mother and you, I think I only, other than that, I've only had haircuts by two barbers. Um,
Yeah.
and so
And now you
you
just keep
guys
it
have done
simple.
great. Now I do it myself.
Yeah.
How about for you, embarrassing haircuts?
Ah, hair is tricky.
I
And I've
noticed
gone through,
you kind of are even worried about it on the podcast.
well, it's just, hair is kind of like what you first see about somebody
Yeah.
sometimes. And you have good days and bad days. Um,
What makes a
the ear,
bad day, bad day?
it just doesn't, just, I don't know. It's hard to define. You just know it when you see it.
Well,
I will say that the hairstyle that is the most embarrassing to me, if I look back, is during college when I tried to do something like Meg Ryan was popular then.
oh yeah.
And I think I tried to do I think I got a perm to make it curly.
Oh,
And then, people wanted it really fluffy, and my hair doesn't really do that naturally. So I worked hard to try to make it big. And that it
mm-hmm.
just it when I look back at those pictures, I kind of feel like, oh, you shouldn't you should have just gone with what your hair wanted to do. It was big and puffy and sort of artificially curly, and
Yeah.
no, it just
Mhm.
wasn't a good look. But, at the time I was unaware.
Yeah.
It just I was trying to do a thing, trying to, I don't know, copy something, which is probably the first mistake.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. And I don't have hair anymore, so I don't have that problem.
Yeah.
Except you notice when
Well, sometimes
my
it's migrating, and I have to remind you to just do a little trimming.
yes, my beard needs some cutting.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, you know what? Not every prompt is great. I don't think that was a great one. So let's try this.
Okay.
Oh, I don't like this one either.
No.
Highest elevation you've been to and how you got there.
You have an issue with elevation.
Me and elevation have issues. We have a problem. So mine was 11,000 feet.
And that I
And
was probably with you in Colorado.
you were there. So we had this wonderful time going skiing at Cooper Mountain,
Copper Mountain.
Copper Mountain. It's where the 10th division of the military trained for mountainous activity in
Oh, and
World War
I know why
II.
you know that.
Yes, because the rest of the story. So I know a lot about Copper Mountain, and because we went skiing, and it was you, it was my little brother, and me,
And my brother.
and your
I
brother,
think Scott was
and
there.
it was a lovely day. And so we were going to go real mountain skiing versus Midwest mountain skiing, where
Which is
I
like on a garbage hill.
oh that's
I
harsh.
mean, do you see any mountains?
It actually is a garbage hill that people ski on here, former dump. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we were going, and we got in the ski lift and went up and went down the backside, and it was a lot of fun. It was great. I was feeling a little fatigued. We got back on the ski lift,
Hmm.
and I started to realize I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And you were noticing I was turning blue. My lips were
Well, you
turning
were
blue.
like blue or white kind of around your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't getting enough oxygen.
This isn't a funny story
No, no,
because
no, we didn't say it was funny.
so I know it was 11,000 feet because I started to panic. Like my muscles were tightening up. I wasn't getting oxygen. I'm like, there's no way I'm getting down. I started crying on the ski lift. It
Yeah, and
was panic, pure
was this
panic.
before we had kids? I mean,
Yes.
it was early, like this was early days. You were still doing a lot of sports. You've always been really athletic, and
Yeah. It,
most sports come easy to you. So this was a hard moment to say, like,
I can't
I
do it.
can't do this.
Yeah, and I realized I can't ski here, and so it was a bad. It's probably the one time you see me really distressed.
Hmm. Yeah, so we had to park you at the lodge at
Yeah,
the
so
bottom of
I
the
got down
hill,
safe because I
get
just
you
went.
some warm drinks, and give you a book, buy whatever they had in the bookstore, which was the history of
Leadville.
Leadville,
I had
and
two history books about Leadville, Colorado.
because you didn't want us to it was the beginning of our ski day, and we'd bought lift tickets, so
Yeah, I am a
the rest of
Dutchman.
us
I mean,
skied. And you
yeah,
hung out at the lodge and probably made some
I
friends.
did make some friends. I just sat there and realized altitude and I do not mix. I mean,
No.
even visiting your folks, I would have to take Diamox just to be up at 9,000 feet where they lived.
Hmm.
And so it
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the highest altitude that
And you
I've
never
been
want to go
to,
back.
and I am fine with below sea level. I'd love to go to the Netherlands again. That seems to be my level of altitude.
Yeah.
How about for
Yeah.
you? What's the
That's what's
highest?
natural for you. Well, I was
Highest.
thinking I should have Googled this. I should Google this because I know I've climbed some 14,000-foot mountains with my dad in
Yeah.
Colorado. But I want to look up, I'm going to look it up right now. Point Lanana
Oh, is that in Kenya?
is on Mount Kenya elevation. because I think it's 18. Oh, no, it says it's 16 and like around 16 and a half. I thought it was 18. So I'm glad I looked it up because that would have been a lie. So I guess I've been to
18,
16 and a
16.
half thousand feet at Point Lanana on Mount Kenya, which is very different conditions that were at the top of the 14,000 footers. It
So
was
when did you do that? When did you go
when we
to?
lived in Africa. My dad was an avid hiker, as you know.
Yeah.
It's one of the first things he made you do. Whatever the
Yeah.
highest point was anywhere, we'd have to climb it. He'd been up Mount Kilimanjaro in Kenya, and we never did that. I don't think we were old enough to tackle that when I lived there. But
Yeah.
Mount Kenya, he took all of us, including my youngest brother, who was 8 at the time. So I
Okay.
must have
It's
been
13.
12,
Yeah, 12 or
12, I
13.
think. And we didn't have proper equipment. We were wearing, gum boots, like,
Like
wellies.
wellies,
Yeah.
yeah.
And whatever warm clothing we had. But we made, you have to camp. I think we camped twice on the way up, and then you make the peak and
Okay.
come back down the same day.
Yeah, I don't know that.
You don't know what?
That's what you do
Yeah.
because I can't even go past 11.
Well,
So
my
you have to
dad,
camp to get altitude adjustment.
exactly, which maybe was one of the mistakes we made when we went skiing. I'm imagining we probably went at the beginning of our week
Yeah.
of being,
We
so
pulled right in and
you hadn't acclimatized at the 9,000 feet probably, but my dad was very diligent about doing that, doing the steps in order. So we camped at base camp first,
yeah.
which I don't know what the elevation was at the base of Mount Kenya, to kind of start to acclimatize. And I think we'd spent a night closer, like a little farther away, but still at a higher altitude. And then you start kind of on the low slopes, the foothills, and then there was some kind of encampment, like a hiker's camp part way up, and we spent the night there, and then you do the peak the next day. So it helps your body adjust.
So it was you.
Me, my 3 brothers, my dad, my uncle, and my cousin Glenn.
Okay. So you were the only
I was
girl
the only girl.
and you showed them.
Well, I just
You
did
just
it
did
like
it.
them. And Scott was 8. I do remember that being the only girl was a bit of a problem when you had to use the bathroom while you're
Yeah.
climbing because, much easier for boys.
Yep.
I had to go find a rock or something. There wasn't a lot of vegetation up
No,
high.
when you get about above 11,000,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of
Yeah.
vegetation.
So that's the highest I've been. And that was a pretty cool trip.
Yeah. And you've climbed a lot of 14ers in Colorado.
Yeah.
Did you do any with our kids?
No. Nope.
No. The uncles took
Yeah, well, you
our
and I
kids.
were out of town. Uncle Scott took them, and Aunt Lara, I
Yeah,
think,
that's
took them
right.
up a mountain. I don't know if did
It was 14. It was one of the college,
one of the
the
college peaks.
collegiate peaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, well, that answers that.
So here's the fun fact I like about altitude. Do you know
What's
what
that?
the elevation of Wheaton, Illinois is?
It's probably under 1,000.
751 ish.
Yeah.
And we're on a hill. So I think we're 753. And that's as
Yeah.
high as I need to go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So-
enough for you.
Well, and we had that altitude, like you don't realize it until you're there. When we were in Rwanda, we didn't realize we were going up to altitude and had effects that were
Yeah.
surprising.
You realize you're more tired and you can get dehydrated. Yeah.
Headaches.
Headaches. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you
So my turn.
have altitude sickness, I recommend stay away from altitude.
That's a great
Yeah.
idea.
That's my tip for the day.
Is this one we've already done? So I just pulled one that says funniest travel story. Have we done enough travel stories?
Probably.
We can keep it for later if we need another one. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no. Now I picked silliest body trick.
Silliest you wrote these.
I
That's
didn't
not
write these.
Okay, silliest body trick.
I mean, I know all the ones our kids can do where they can put a foot behind their head and
Yeah.
their fingers bend in funny ways.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's just like I can,
You can
and
make
I think
your
this
lips
is
go in
hereditary.
different directions.
Yeah, I can do the like upper lip and bottom lip in different directions,
Yeah.
and the tongue in a, you can curl your tongue.
Yeah.
I can do that, but I don't think I really have anything very
very interesting.
extraordinary.
No, I mean, I think I'm more flexible than most, so my thumb kind of goes backwards,
It
and
does.
um, I know
Is that called
it's
hitchhiker's thumb? Like it curves?
yeah, it curves, and I can like touch my palms together, and my fingers go way out like a V. Those type of things, or where you can just move the top joint of your finger
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
on its own. So
Yeah.
some of those are fun body tricks. Um,
You do, when there's any little kid around,
yeah,
you
that's
do a
what I was
lot
going
of
to talk
face
about.
tricks.
Yeah, my face
Yeah.
is a toy. So with kids being able to push on cheeks or your nose or pull on your ear, you can make your face do different things,
Well,
and they're
you have like they
fascinated.
push on your ear and you
My tongue
pop,
comes
your
no,
tongue comes out,
push
or
on the
you,
nose, the tongue comes out. You pull on an ear, the tongue goes that way. And they find it's hours of fun for both of us.
yeah.
So it's interactive, but it's yeah. I don't think we have very many body tricks.
No, we're pretty ordinary in that way.
Yeah.
There's no Cirque du Soleil. There's no like,
No, I mean,
no.
I stopped breathing at 10,000 feet.
Yeah,
That's a funny
that's
body
not so
trick.
funny though. Okay, why don't you pick a better
All
question?
right. I'll pick, we're getting to the end here. Strangest or scariest transportation event?
Strangest or scariest transportation event?
Yeah. Like mode of transportation.
Okay. Do you have something?
I think probably, yeah, there's a couple. Probably taking the Greyhound for the first time
Oh yeah, that was fun.
was so we were traveling visiting kids down south, and we had a car accident,
Mm-hmm.
and it was too expensive to fly back to
We had to
Chicago. We
leave
had
the
to
car
leave the
there.
car there to get it repaired. So we had to figure out a way to get back, and there was no good option. So we were looking to rent a car, but even that was difficult. And one of our sons, very good with the computer, found Greyhound.
Yeah, for like $29 a ticket or something. So we're
Yeah,
like, let's do that
it was a 9-hour Greyhound ride, and it was
for a
fun.
5 hour trip.
Yeah, so I don't think it was scary, but it was the strangest trip. I mean, just a lot of pot uh, that others were doing,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
just it was interesting
Well,
social
it wasn't comfortable.
dynamics.
It was not comfortable. That
No,
bus was an old bus, and it was a long journey sitting in those seats.
yeah,
So it wasn't a comfortable way to travel.
no, but that was interesting. I think so. I'm saying interesting ones. I don't know about scary. I don't think
Oh,
there's ever
I
been a
know what
scary.
the vomit train.
Oh, the vomit train. Yes, that
I
was a
feel like
that
we've
was
told a lot of these
uncomfortable.
stories, but if we haven't, I'm sorry. But
Yeah.
if we haven't, this was supposed to be a fun journey on a trip we took to Croatia for our anniversary, and
Yes.
we stayed in Split. And then I had gotten tickets out of Zagreb because we'd been somewhere else. It was like a multi destination
Yeah.
ticket. So we thought, oh, but we love train travel. Train travel is really fun. So I booked us a ticket on the train from Split to Zagreb, which I think was supposed to be a 7 hour train.
Yeah.
What we didn't know when we
Right.
booked our travel to Split was that it was the same week as this electronic music festival.
Yeah.
What was it called again? I've sort of blocked it out.
Yeah. I blocked it out. I just call it the unsa unsa unsa
Yeah.
unsa.
So
And it was right
thousands.
after COVID, so it was the first time this concert was happening again post COVID,
Yeah.
and yeah, tens of thousands of people
Of
from all
young
over
people in
Europe.
body glitter were all at this music festival. And then the morning, I had booked an 8 a.m. train because it's a long ride. So I wanted to get us into Zagreb, have dinner, spend one night there, and then fly out the next day. The festival happened to end that same day. So when we
Right.
got up to walk to the train station, there were also hordes of kids who hadn't slept all night coming off this music festival, going to the
Using
train
various
to go
substances.
back to
Yeah.
various parts of Europe. they weren't well.
They
These
were
kids had been partying
not.
for a long time. And let's just say we were
Oh.
on a train with them for 7 hours.
No, it was longer because
Well, yes, it was
yeah,
longer because the train, it was, yeah, it just, it wasn't a speed, it wasn't a
it wasn't a
fast
fast
train.
train.
And it would stop in small towns, kind of wait to see if anybody was going to get on there or
Yeah,
not. And
the train person would come out holding a paddle and stop the train at every village,
yeah,
and so it was like a commuter.
or they would have a flag if there was nobody that needed to get on the train, so they'd go through. But
Yeah.
in any case, it was longer than it needed to be. I could not use the bathroom on the train because it was unfit for human use. So I was also very uncomfortable by the time we got to the end
Yeah.
of that journey.
Yeah.
And it was not an enjoyable moment
Well,
in train travel.
so we won't get too graphic.
No, just don't.
Yeah, but we had to ride the second half of the train with our feet and bags up
Up
off
off
the
the
floor,
floor.
because there was such quantity
And I will
of
say that we were also
activity.
in first class.
Yeah, we
So
were.
it wasn't like we could have gotten better seats.
No, it
It was
was.
just
I think
unfortunate timing.
sloshy would
It
be
was
the.
you said you weren't going to get graphic.
That's not graphic. That's just one word.
That's it's more than I needed.
So that was a disgusting trip.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
was.
That was yeah, I think that's enough of that.
Yeah, there was one time when we were driving in Romania
Mhm.
and we listened to GPS and GPS was wrong and we ended up on a hiking trail.
I think that was in Hungary.
Oh, that was
But
in
yeah,
Hungary.
that's just because we followed GPS and we think this seems to be a road. This seems
Yeah,
to be a road. Oh, this isn't a road
it
anymore.
wasn't a
Oh,
road.
there's pedestrians and
Yeah.
they're looking at
The
us.
hikers were like, "What are you doing?"
And
And yeah,
we got out of that.
that was a little
All right.
scary.
Okay. Last question. Oh, this will be fun for you. Spiciest thing you ever ate.
Spiciest
Any
thing.
stories about spicy things? So,
Oh, there's
just like
so many.
altitude, you and spice aren't the best of friends.
So I like the idea of mountain climbing.
Uh-huh.
Can't do it. I like the idea of spicy food. The taste is fabulous. My body says no.
Yeah, which
And
is also part of your DNA, probably.
I'm pretty sure that and the way my body says no is where I start to turn bright red and sweat gallons. And the wait staff thinks I'm having a heart attack, and I have to go, no, I'm okay. My body just is
Just bring me
protesting.
more
Yeah,
towels.
I would like a towel, please. So I think my favorite one was 20 years ago. A colleague of mine, we were taking him out for celebration. He was an Indian colleague, so we went to Clay Oven in downtown Chicago.
Mhm.
Ding, 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 if Clay Oven still exists. And we all ordered food, and I started to eat, and they all got really concerned. I'm like, this is great. I didn't even like respond to the sweat coming down
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's
it's
just
just
normal.
normal.
And it was dinner and a show for them because then they started ordering different things to see what would happen to
Yeah,
David's body.
yeah,
And one time when I was in India, my buddy that I was traveling with ate all the hot food for me.
yeah.
So I've learned to, you know,
Take it
order
easy.
light food, but I think that was probably the most uncomfortable I was because I was
Mhm.
like, oh, this is a new colleague. I'm just going to go for it. And it was
And then it
soggy.
was
I
the
was soggy.
entertainment for the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
And the
about,
kids still find that interesting because they'll cook and try to make it less spicy in quotes, and then
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
your sweat says otherwise.
Because I like the spice. I
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
flavor.
Your game.
I think
And
the last time we had it was when we went to a
and
Mexican restaurant
yeah,
in
that
a
was
neighboring
unusual.
town.
There was some spice that I don't know what
It
that
was
was.
something that hit my body that was just like, it wasn't no, it was like, we are going to stop all of this right now.
Yeah, and Mexican food doesn't usually do that to you.
No.
Ethiopian as well. I think you've had to say no.
Yeah, which is interesting, right? Because you're all listening going, well, why are you eating Ethiopian? Ethiopian
It's
food is
it's so
delicious.
good.
It's so good, but there's consequences
Yeah.
with all of life's choices.
Yeah. For me, like and enjoy spice, so I can't think of something I ate that caused a bad reaction. But what I remember is I have a friend whose husband works in the but I don't know, it must be biology, and they sell plants at a high school. They
Yeah.
have a plant sale. And she sometimes would bring the plants in her car to our book club that were not sold the
Yep.
book so at the plant sale. Often they were hot pepper plants.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I would take a few.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we planted I believe it was a Carolina
Carolina Reaper.
Reaper
Yeah.
in our backyard, and it grew really well. It
Prolific.
was really happy little pepper plant.
Prolific pepper plant.
Yes. So the kids picked all those peppers. How many peppers did Peter Piper pick?
A bunch.
Yeah. And they wanted to make our kids really like spice too. So they cooked up a hot sauce in our house that aerosolized in the air so much that we all had to leave the house
Yeah, they
because
pepper
it was
sprayed our house.
yeah, because just to walk through it would be in your eyes and your nose, and this was just from what was boiling on the stove.
Right.
It was so hot.
It was pretty much army grade pepper spray in our house for quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, that was, I mean, they loved the spice, but it was great hot sauce, they told me. I stayed far
No,
away
we
from
didn't
it.
touch that. Just
No.
I had enough of it in the air. I didn't need that.
Well, and if you don't know, what I've learned from being in relationship with Tara is the smaller the pepper, the hotter the spice. Because we were in far western Kenya, and
Yeah.
they had pili pili.
Well, I said something about pili pili because I can't remember why. I said they served us a really lovely
Yeah, and you said,
chicken
"Oh,
stew, and I said
this
something
would be
about
good
pili
with
pili,
pili pili."
and they said, "Oh, you like pili pili?" And they went out in the garden and picked some, and they said, they gave me this one tiny little pepper.
Yeah, it looked
was
like a piece
probably
of rice.
it was a tiny bit bigger than a piece of rice, but not much. And they said, I hadn't seen it in that form. I'd had it in powdered form on
So what is
things.
pili pili for people
It's
that don't know?
What's I don't know. It's a pepper. It was a hot pepper because
It's
they
a
weren't
hot pepper.
joking.
No.
I put that one little pepper in throughout my meal, and it was more than enough. It was
Yeah.
very spicy, but it was tasty. I was also thinking about when our son Jacob had what he would call his spiciest experience. We were in Australia. Do you remember this? There was a market under the
Oh, the
Sydney Harbor
rocks.
Bridge
Yeah,
in
the
the
rocks.
rocks.
Yeah.
And they had tables selling all kinds of food, and there was one that was like a chili, and they had all kinds of chilies, and they had tasting things out in bowls. But there was one that said age 21 and over only. Not because there wasn't any alcohol in it. It was just
Yeah.
it
It
was
could
just you have
damage
to be
a
responsible
developing
enough
gut.
to make a
Yeah. Yeah.
decision.
You have to have good cognitive judgment.
That was a challenge
Right.
for our
Because
son.
he was
Uh,
14.
maybe not even that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And I think
But not
with
21.
the agreement of the person, he said, "Can I try a tiny bit on something?" I
Yeah. And
forget how he
he
consumed
asked
it.
one of us, and we're like, sure, if the boy
I
wants to
think
do
so.
it. Yeah.
He regretted that, I think. He said it kind of made the steam come out of his ears.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't try that one, but he has pretty high tolerance for things like that. So if he said it
Yeah.
blew steam out of his ears, I believe him.
So one last wrap up thing is, what is your favorite spice? So that's the spiciest. We were talking about hot, but what's the favorite
See, you
spice?
went back to the favorite question.
Yeah.
I hate those
I
questions.
know. I like lemongrass. I'm going to go with lemongrass. I
This is
think
something you
that's
had
a
in your
spice.
mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just
I
is
have to
a
pick a favorite spice. There's so many good flavors. Okay, right off the top of my head, I'm going to say curry.
curry.
I love curry.
What kind
I
of
love
curry?
curry. I don't know.
How many
Madras?
how many kind of curries can you
I
list?
don't know. I like curry.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Curry is good. Well, we hope you have enjoyed our conversation starters, that you've paused this. So you've probably been focused on this podcast for now like 4 hours. And hopefully it led to good conversations.
Yeah. I hope to talk to you again soon.